Hey everybody, and welcome back to Lindsey's Little Library. So today is Thursday, and of course BookList Thursday as always. BookList Thursday is something I do with my friend Sarah over at Sarah's Nightstand. We come to you every Thursday with some sort of book thoughts, ideas, recommendations, something bookish related. So for today's BookList Thursday, we are helping you get a good start on your extended Memorial Day weekend. I'm sure this weekend looks a little bit different for people compared to past years, but still taking the time to honor those who served and remember what they've done for our country, kind of a little unofficial kickoff to summer. And one of the things that I love doing on extended weekends, or in summer, or anytime, is to pick up a good book, right? So our recommendations for you today are books that you can get done or that you can read in a long weekend. Now you would think I would be giving you some shorter books. That's not the case, because I feel like it doesn't matter how many pages the book has, if it's, depending on upon how it's written, if it's good enough story and it draws me in enough, I can finish it in a weekend. So here are my recommendations for you. First one I'm going to tell you is one of the beefier ones. I mean, we're pushing like 600 pages. But it's okay. I promise you, you will get through this in a weekend. Because it's Illuminae by Amie, Kaufman, and Kristoff. Kind of feel like I'm cheating because yes, it is a big book, but the way it is written is like a case file. It's written very uniquely. This is a sci-fi book that follows our main character, Katie, I think is her name. Let's just make sure. Yes, Katie Grant. It follows her as she survives this very surprise attack on the planet that she's living on with her, I think she's with her mother at that time. So they have to make a really quick exit, and she boards one of 3 spaceships that are there to rescue these, or to take these refugees away from this planet. They're also being pursued by kind of an enemy ship that's trying to track them down. It's this whole thing, and this is set up as this case file that follows the events of what happened with Katie, who else she comes in contact with, the events that unfold. It's fantastic. I'm not a big sci-fi reader, I'm sure most of you know this, but I loved this book. It was awesome, and you will finish this in a weekend, I promise. Next thing I want to talk about is I kind of go to my favorite authors when I'm looking for quick reads, and Colleen Hoover is definitely one of them. I go through her books so fast, and one book you will easily get through is Verity. I struggle with how to explain Verity to people because I almost want them to walk into this book as blind as can be, because I feel like that's better. But it is psychological, thriller-esque. It's very risque, and there is a mystery. There are things that will creep you out. There are times you will wonder why this woman is doing what she is doing, and it's fantastic, and you should just trust me on that and just read the book, because you'll fly through that one in a weekend, I promise. The next one I want to talk about is 3 Things I Know Are True by Betty Culley. This is another chunker of a book. This has a lot of pages to it, but it is written in verse, which helps move things along. Yet you are drawn into this story. You follow this main character whose brother was involved in an accidental shooting between him and his best friend, and it happened across the street from them. And so her brother is living in the house in a somewhat vegetative state, while they're still going through the legal repercussions of this action, or of this situation. Because they're neighbors, she knows the other boy. Of course, the parents know the other parents. There's a lot of ethical and moral questions being raised and asked, and opinions being, of course, shared, whether they're asked to or not. And you go through all of this through the eyes of the sister who is watching things unfold and witnessing what's happening to her mom and what's going on with her brother. It's heart-wrenching, and amazing at the same time. So highly recommend that. You'll get through that in a weekend for sure. The next couple I have to talk about by the same author, my friend Gillian Flynn. If you haven't read Sharp Objects or Dark Places yet, these are perfect weekend reads. They're short and they're full of Gillian Flynn's essence. She also has another one called The Grown Up that highly suggest any of them. They are, I'd say, thrillers, psychological thrillers. This one follows Camille. She grew up a little bit rough. She ended up spending some time in a psych hospital. She, of course, got better. She found a job as a reporter, and she is kind of facing an assignment that's taking her back home and kind of having her relive what led up to what she did to herself and then how she got into a psych hospital. This packs a punch for how short this is. Same with Dark Places, packs a punch for how short it is. You won't want to put it down. You could easily finish this in one sitting. It's fantastic. And the last book that I have for you that you can finish in a weekend is called Neighborly by Monde Ago. I'm trying to remember if this was an Amazon First Reads book that I did. I know I rented it on my Kindle, so I'm not sure if it was that or what a part of a daily deal, but I was surprised at how great this book was, and I read it really, really fast. So this follows our main characters, Katie and Doug, I believe. They're somewhat recently married. They just had a brand new baby, and they're in California. They're realizing that big city life is not for them. They want to find a nice, quiet suburb, buy a nice house, and raise their daughter that way in like the perfect neighborhood. And all of a sudden, an opportunity arises where they have the chance to buy this perfect house in this perfect neighborhood, and they have to sacrifice a little bit. There are things they have to do in order to get this house, and maybe they don't thoroughly think through the consequences of that, but it doesn't matter. They have the house, they have the perfect neighborhood, they have these awesome neighbors, right? Until a random note shows up that says something like, "That wasn't very neighborly of you." And she starts to realize the sinister undertones of this neighborhood and the various relationships between these people in this neighborhood, and that some secrets from her past could definitely come haunting her in a place she never expected them to be. And let's just say it's not quite what she thought it was. It gives me Desperate Housewives vibes. It's a really quick read. Definitely something you can get through in a weekend. Maybe while you sit on your porch, checking out your neighbors. I don't know. But it was fantastic. So those are my books, 5-ish, plus a few bonus ones that you could easily get through in a weekend. Make sure you head over to Sarah's channel and check out what she has for you. And I think we have you set for Memorial Day, other than, you know, the food and the beer and all that stuff. But we got the books taken care of, and that's the important part, right? Feel free to comment below. Let me know what books you think are good to get through a weekend. Otherwise, like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Bye.